Or a girl marries an Arab billionaire at 25, never having touched a woman. But what happens next? Amina was a simple girl, just 25, with dreams too grand for her modest existence. She grew up in a cramped apartment in the heart of Cairo, where the faint scent of spices mingled with the dust of the streets. The rhythmic calls to prayer filled her days, a soundtrack to her struggles. Her days were spent juggling multiple jobs, from cleaning homes to working in a quaint cafe, always smiling, always hopeful. "You'll never leave this place," her friend Fatima warned one afternoon, as they sifted through the remnants of a shared lunch. But Amina yearned for more. The catalyst arrived unexpectedly, a gala invitation. It was an invitation to an opulent soiree, hosted by Sheikh Khalid al-Fad, one of the wealthiest men in the Arab world. The palace was a jewel of shimmering gold and deep blue tiles. Thick carpets muffled footsteps, and the air was thick with the scent of rosewater and sandalwood. Chandeliers dangled like constellations above her head, casting a luminous glow. Amina felt out of place among the elegantly dressed crowd, her simple gown a stark contrast to the designer dresses swirling around her. "Who is she?" someone whispered, snickering at Amina's appearance. But the evening took a turn when Sheikh Khalid's piercing gaze found hers across the room. It was electric. Within moments, he had crossed the space that separated them, his presence commanding. "What a rare beauty you are," he said, leaning slightly closer. Her heart raced, a wild drum echoing in her chest. She could hardly speak, let alone comprehend why a man of such stature was drawn to her. As they conversed, the world faded away, the laughter, the music, until it was just the two of them. Days turned to weeks, and their whirlwind romance bloomed. Amina was swept into a world of luxury, a world filled with glittering parties, expensive jewelry, and lavish travel. For the first time, she felt alive, but that vibrant pulse came with its own shadows. "Do you feel at home here?" Khalid asked one evening, his tone laced with a hint of vulnerability. Amina hesitated. She cherished the beauty surrounding her, but every smile felt like a mask. In the luxurious surroundings, doubts began to fester. Would he still love her once the novelty wore off? Her thoughts spiraled the night of their engagement. A grand affair that filled the palace with an array of lavish decorations and exotic delights. Guests beamed, goblets brimming with sparkling dates and honeyed treats. But as she stood beside Khalid, adorned in a gown that felt like a dream, her heart sank. "What if they find out?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the celebratory clamor. His brow furrowed, confusion flashing in his eyes. The tension mounted, a thread pulled tight. Amina's thoughts raced like a dam bursting, secret fears clawing at her, threatening to unravel her newfound happiness. As the clock struck midnight, a sudden crack echoed through the opulent palace. Amina's stomach dropped. The candles flickered, darkness shrouded the revelries. What was that? Khalid's voice cut through the silence, tinged with alarm. Amina turned to him, her palms sweating, her world teetering on the brink of chaos. What lay hidden behind this darkness? Hey, before we dive back into this amazing story, I've got an important warning. Lots of subscribers told me YouTube removed their subscription without notice. Take a second to check the red button below and make sure you're still subscribed. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming up. And while you're there, smash that powerful like button. It really helps with the algorithm. Let me know in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love meeting every awesome person in this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Amina's heart. Race through the silence, shadows creeping around her like old fears. The chandeliers cast eerie patterns, and the guests murmured, confusion rippling through the room. But chill brushed her skin. "Is everyone okay?" she asked, her voice thin, nearly lost. But Khalid's expression changed. His eyes darted around the room, suddenly alert. As the flickering light returned, an unintended drama unfolded. The guests, once laughing, now wore looks of concern. A wave of whispers surged, a current of fear. Then it happened. A piercing scream erupted from a corner. Amina's eyes darted over. A woman collapsed not far from them, her gown shimmering, but now stained with chaos. "Get help!" Khalid shouted, his voice booming. Panic unfurled like a dark flower. Amina rushed forward with him. She had to see. The crowd parted as they reached the woman. Amina knelt beside her, heart thundering. The elegance of the evening dimmed into horror. Khalid kneeled too, his face pale, a stark contrast to the earlier exuberance. Then she heard it. The woman was crying. "He's back! He's back!" Her eyes were wide, looking through Amina. The words were broken, as if each one felt heavy and sharp. Khalid stiffened. "Who?" he asked, his voice low, cautious. Amina looked between the two. The tension twisted her stomach. The woman's voice dropped to a whisper, but Amina could hear it clear. "The man from your past. You thought he was gone." Khalid's jaw tightened. Amina felt her breath hitch. The world around her blurred. Who was this man? Was he a danger? Was their love built on a lie? "What are you talking about?" Khalid demanded, urgency creeping in. The woman looked at Amina, desperation woven in her gaze. "It's not what you think, Amina. He knows everything. He wants you and him." A wave of nausea washed over Amina. What could that possibly mean? "What do you mean, me?" she stammered, her voice a fragile whisper, each word floating. Like a feather in stormy winds. As Khalid clenched his fists, his eyes darkened, a storm brewing within. "Who is this man?" Before the woman could answer, a figure emerged from the shadows. The lights flickered again, revealing a tall man draped in a dark cloak. His features were obscured, but his presence was magnetic, a force that pulled every gaze in the room. A hush fell over the crowd. Every breath was suspended in the air. "Didn't think I would find you here, Khalid," the man said, his voice smooth but laced with malice. Pressure tightened around Amina's chest. She felt her heart pound, each beat a reminder of her vulnerability. What was happening? Khalid stood, face aflame with anger. "Leave, before I call security." The crowd was paralyzed. "You think you can run from your past?" the man taunted, voice dripping with disdain. Amina swallowed hard. Who was this man? Why was he targeting Khalid? And what did it all mean for her? Khalid shifted closer to Amina, protectively, but she felt a tremor in his hand. Was this really the man she loved? The world around them faded into nothing. The shadowed figure took a step forward. "You don't know what you're getting into, Amina." Cold dread froze her bones, and just as suddenly as it had begun, the lights went out again. Screams erupted, chaos spilled, everything tilted into fear. Amina felt Khalid clutch her arm tightly, but the darkness swallowed them whole. "Khalid, stay close," she yelled, but her voice echoed into nothingness. As fear washed over her, Amina faced the unknown, and the weight of her reality crumbled. Was escape even possible now? Amina felt the cold rush of panic. The darkness swallowed everything. The voices of guests echoed. Muffled gasps and cries swirled around her. Khalid's grip on her arm was tight, but she could sense his fear. The pulsing beat of her heart filled her ears. "Khalid," she shouted, but the chaos drowned her out. Then, a flicker. Light returned, revealing the crowd in a state of shock. Amina's breath hitched as she searched for Khalid. His eyes were wide, locked on the shadowed figure. Something darker lurked behind them. "What do you want?" Khalid's voice was low, dangerous. The man smirked. "What I want? Oh, it's much more complicated than that. You should know better than to let your past catch up with you." Khalid. The crowd leaned in, breaths held, waiting. Amina's pulse raced. She stepped closer to Khalid, seeking reassurance, but he looked unsteady. "You think you've won, don't you?" the man continued, his tone taunting. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." Amina felt the shadows of his words creeping around her. "Who are you?" she burst out, voice shaking. Suddenly, his eyes fixed on her. "You're the key to it all, Amina," he stated, voice smooth as silk. "You don't even know what you've inherited." Her stomach twisted. Inherited? What did he mean? Khalid stepped between them, tense. "Leave her out of this." "But it's too late," the man replied, a cruel smile gracing his lips. "Secrets you never knew are about to come to light. This is just the beginning." Amina's mind raced. What secrets? How was she part of this? The crowd began murmuring, confused and restless. "You don't get to play the hero anymore, Khalid," the man warned, stepping closer. Then, like a bolt from the blue, he pulled something from his cloak, an old, tattered photograph. Amina squinted. The image flickered under the palace lights. Her breath caught. It was Khalid as a boy, but beside him stood a woman who looked remarkably like her. No. Khalid shook his head, eyes wide. Amina's heart sank. Uncertainty clawed at her. "What is this?" she asked, voice barely a whisper. Khalid's expression changed. Guilt mixed with something else, something darker. "It's not what you think," he shouted, panic spilling from him. But before he could say more, the mysterious man laughed, a sound that slithered into every ear. "Oh no, Khalid, it's exactly what she needs to know. She deserves the truth." Eyes widened around them. Silence fell. The weight of revelation loomed. "You think she loves you?" The man's voice dripped with disdain. "After tonight, she'll know you weren't just a billionaire." Khalid lunged forward, but the man was faster. "No, don't!" Khalid cried out, but the figure slipped back into the shadows, disappearing as suddenly as he had emerged. Amina stood frozen, mind racing. What had just happened? What did all of this mean? Was their love built on lies? Darkness returned for a moment, and the fleeting chaos rocked the crowd again. Screams echoed, and lights flickered in and out. Fear clutched Amina's chest. "Khalid!" she shrieked, but he was gone. She searched frantically, heart racing. Dread filled the air, and the crowd thinned, whispers growing thick with tension. Khalid was lost in the chaos, and so was Amina, with a secret she never asked for, and shadows chasing her down. "You can't hide from the truth forever," the chilling voice rang out. Suddenly, the floor trembled. Amina stumbled, the ground beneath her shifting. The lights flashed one last time, revealing the man's ominous silhouette at the entrance. "The game has just begun, Amina." And then it all went dark. Her world collapsed into silence. What had she just walked into? Amina stood in the dark, her heart racing. The silence felt heavy, like a weight pressing down on her. She could barely catch her breath. The crowd had thinned, and she felt utterly lost. What just happened? Out of nowhere, the lights flickered on again, illuminating the cracks in the chaos around her. Guests scrambled, and Amina searched frantically for Khalid. "Khalid!" she yelled, her voice shaking. Nothing, just the echo of her own fear. Suddenly, she caught a movement in the corner of her eye. It was the man from before, the shadowy figure. Her pulse quickened. He stood there, a smirk on his face, watching everything unfold. "You think you can escape?" he taunted, his voice smooth yet laced with malice. Amina felt her stomach churn. "What do you want from us?" she shouted, crossing her arms for some sense of protection. "Truth, dear Amina," he said, stepping closer. "There's so much you don't know." The whispers of guests intensified, confusion deepening. She could see their eyes darting between her and the man, judgment clear on their faces. Then he pulled out another item from his cloak, a small ornate box. The crowd gasped collectively. Amina felt her legs weaken. "This is where it all began," he said, opening it. Inside lay an old locket, tarnished yet beautiful, glinting under the palace lights. Khalid's face went pale. "No, not that," he murmured, taking a step back. Amina turned to him, alarm gripping her. "What is happening, Khalid?" He didn't answer. His eyes locked onto the locket, as if it were a serpent ready to strike. The man smiled, reveling in their discomfort. "You see, Amina, you and Khalid share a bond deeper than you ever imagined." Panic rumbled in Amina's chest. What does that mean? She felt the world spinning. The man leaned in closer, his voice lowered, but filled with a sinister glee. "You're connected by blood, your family." Time froze. Amina's breath hitched, a lump formed in her throat. "What? That can't be true." Behind her, whispers rose again. Shock washed over everyone. Khalid shook his head, backing away. "No, it can't be." His denial felt like a dagger. How could this happen? How could they be related? Amina felt heat creep to her face. "No, you're lying." Her voice cracked, fear threading through. The man shrieked with laughter. "Lying? Oh no, my dear. The old woman in that photograph. Your mother." Amina stepped back in disbelief. This has to be a mistake. But deep inside, she could feel the truth gnawing at her. Connections she never wanted to know. The man tapped the locket, his expression twisted in pleasure. "Open it," he urged. "See for yourself." With trembling hands, Amina reached for the locket. Memories flooded her. Family secrets long buried. "Please," she cried, glancing at Khalid, who looked like he might collapse. But he said nothing, eyes wide with horror. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about them both. Their world was collapsing. With one swift motion, she opened the locket. Inside were two tiny portraits, one of a smiling woman, and the other, a young boy. A boy who looked exactly like Khalid. The crowd gasped. "No!" Khalid stepped forward, desperation in his voice. Amina struggled to comprehend. "What does this mean?" she whispered, her hands shaking as shock went through her. "It means," the man said, voice heavy with darkness, "that you're more entangled than you know. It means you have to decide. What will you do now, dear sister?" Amina's heart dropped. "Sister? This can't be real." But Khalid's face was ashen, fear etching deeper lines around his eyes. "Amina, we have to. We need to get out of here." Before she could respond, the lights flickered again, and the ground shook beneath them. The walls felt like they were closing in. The game is just beginning. And as she faced the man, her world spun into chaos once again. A wave of realization crashed over her. She had secrets of her own, and this was just the start of unraveling everything. Amina stood there, breath catching. "Sister?" The word echoed like a death knell in her ears. She felt her vision blur. All eyes were on her, judgment and suspicion casting shadows. Khalid shook his head, panic etched on his features. "This can't be true." His voice trembled. "Is it possible?" Amina's heart raced. "I don't understand." Behind her the crowd murmured, shocked whispers cutting through the air. The man from the shadows watched with amusement. "Your family, and that changes everything." The weight of his words crashed down on her. Family? The mere idea turned her stomach. Mixed emotions swirled, anger, confusion, fear. Khalid stepped back, shaking his head. "It's not true." "It is," the man said, smirking. "And I have proof." He gestured to the locket still in Amina's trembling hands. Amina's stomach twisted. She needed answers. "What else do you know?" The man leaned in, voice dripping with contempt. "I know your mother's secrets, and Khalid's too." Amina's heart pounded. "What secrets?" The man threw his hands up dramatically. "The real reason Khalid's family turned their backs on him." Khalid paled. "Don't listen to him, Amina." But Amina was already reeling. What did they do? She faced Khalid, desperation clawing at her insides. "What's the truth?" A deep hush fell over the remaining guests. Nobody dared to breathe. "You really want to know?" the man taunted. "Fine. Khalid's mother knew about your mother, Amina. They grew up together until everything fell apart." Khalid's eyes widened. "Stop it!" "No." The man grinned, enjoying the show. "Your mother ran away, and Khalid's family covered it up. They wanted to protect their name, but secrets like these can't stay buried." Amina felt sick. "Is that true?" Khalid hesitated, struggling with his words. "It's complicated." "Is it?" she interrupted, voice shaking. "Complicated how? Just tell me." He opened his mouth, but before he could respond, the earth trembled again. The lights flickered wildly, and Amina felt a jolt of fear. A piercing scream erupted from a corner. "It's happening again!" Amina's heart lurched. The crowd surged, people pushing back. "Everyone stay calm," someone shouted, but Khalid's eyes were panicked, darting around. "Amina, we need to go. Now!" The shadowy figure raised his hand, laughter ringing through the madness. "You think you can escape? The truth is coming for you." Amina felt heat rising. What truth? She scanned the chaos. The moment was slipping from her grasp. In that instant, Khalid took her arm. "Trust me, we have to get out." But just then, the man leaned in close, whispering, "You won't escape your fate, Amina. Not when they find out who you really are." Amina froze. "What do you mean?" Ignoring her question, he continued, "You both have more in common than you know." Khalid clenched his jaw, squeezing Amina's hand tightly. "Let's go." But Amina couldn't move. What does he mean? Suddenly the lights went out. Darkness surrounded them, screams ripping through the crowd. "Get down!" someone yelled, panic rising. Amina felt herself pulled into Khalid's side, his breath on her cheek, a fierce urgency in his grip. "Shh," he whispered, panic in his voice. But she couldn't ignore the man's last words. What is she? Then, out of the dark, a shocking sound broke through. A loud crash, followed by a blinding light, then silence. Amina stood frozen, heart pounding. Something terrible was about to unfold. Their lives were already unraveling, spinning in a web of secrets. And just like that, everything changed. What was she really trapped in? What was Khalid hiding? And could they truly escape before the truth consumed them both? Amina clutched the locket, trembling. The world spun, fear coating her throat. She looked at Khalid, desperate for answers. What's happening? The air buzzed with anxiety. The crowd had become restless, whispers bouncing off the palace walls. "We need to escape." Khalid pulled at her, but Amina couldn't move. "Who are you?" she shouted at the shadowy man, her voice piercing through the chaos. He stepped closer, that wretched smile still twisted on his face. "I am the bearer of truths, dear Amina. The truths that will tear your world apart." "Enough!" Khalid lunged forward, trying to shield Amina. But the man just laughed, eyes glinting with malice. "There's more, Khalid. More you've kept from her. Secrets hidden for too long." The floor quaked again. Panic surged. "What do you know?" Amina cried. "Just tell me." The man leaned in closer, voice low. "Your past is darker than you realize. Amina, your mother had a twin, and you've been living with just half the truth." Amina's heart raced. A twin? Her mind flashed with memories of her mother, always cautious, always secretive. "What else?" "Your mother's twin survived. She's been living in hiding. She wanted to protect you from the darkness that comes when bloodlines cross." Khalid's face shifted from shock to horror. "You're lying." His voice cracked, but Amina felt something twist inside her. It couldn't be true, could it? A piercing noise erupted, breaking through the tension, but the man continued, unwavering. You see, this isn't just about you both. It's about everyone. Your families are tied in ways you can't begin to fathom. Khalid took a step back, fear cutting through him. What do you mean, tied? He asked, voice strained. But before a reply came, a scream erupted near the entrance. A woman collapsed, clutching her chest, her eyes wide in terror. "He's here," she wailed. "He's coming." Amina felt the blood drain from her face. "Who?" The man laughed, stepping back. "You'll learn soon enough. Secrets have a way of coming out, especially when there's so much at stake." "What do you mean?" Amina shouted, no longer caring about the crowd around her. But he was already pacing back, relishing the chaos. "Tonight will change everything. Once the truth comes out, you'd wish it stayed buried." Khalid's face paled as shadows flickered. "Amina, we need to go." He reached for her, urgency flooding his voice. "Not so fast," the man shouted, his eyes glinting fiercely. "You can't ignore what's about to happen." Amina felt her world spinning. "Please, just tell me what you know." She was pleading, desperate. But then, harsh laughter erupted around them, drowning her words. The lights dimmed even more, and the tension felt thick like a fog. In an instant, the ground shook and the figure flickered. "You'll see your family in ways you never expected. Your mother, your sister, and your love." Khalid's hand gripped Amina's tightly. He leaned in close, eyes frantic. "We need to leave." But before they could move, a shrill voice cut through them. "Ención." "Amina!" It was Fatima, pushing through the crowd, panic hecha cross-cuesta. "They know! They've come for you!" Amina's sangre se secó en su cabeza. "¿Cómo? ¿Qué significa?" Fátima gritó, una emoción transitando por su cuerpo. ¿Qué está pasando? Amina sentía las paredes cerrarse en cada vecino. Khalid tornó a Amina, voz leve, pero el hombre que interrumpió empezó a diciendo: "Es tiempo de enfrentar lo que te has habitado." Amina sopló arte, atrapada en incertidumbre. ¿Qué verdad? ¿Saberla cambiaría todo? Entonces las luces se vuelten todas en asombría oscura. Fiero quería a Amina. Was this the end, or just the beginning? The darkness felt smothering. Amina could barely breathe. Khalid's grip tightened around her wrist. She heard the chaos swirl around them, shouts, footsteps, frantic whispers. "Stay close," he urged, voice urgent. But she could barely hear him over the commotion. Then, suddenly, the lights flared back on, illuminating the room. But amidst the confusion, a new figure stepped into the light. Amina's heart dropped. It was a woman, familiar, yet unrecognizable. Her face was as pale as marble, eyes wide with panic. Amina squinted, trying to place her. "Mom?" The words slipped out, trembling at the edges. The crowd gasped, shocked. Shifting like waves. Khalid's expression morphed from fear to agony. "What are you doing here?" he whispered, as if accepting a bleak truth. "I had to," she yelled back, voice strained. "They're coming for you." Amina took a step back. The air thickened with tension. "What do you mean?" Khalid shook his head in disbelief. "Leave now." No, she shot back. I won't let you destroy everything. The man from the shadows laughed. Isn't this delightful? Family reunions, at their finest. Khalid's mother turned to him, her fragmented voice cracking. You don't understand. They'll tear us apart. What are you talking about? Amina demanded, confusion swirling in her gut. They've known. Always, she said, pointing a finger, trembling slightly. Your mother, my sister, she's been watching us. What? Amina's pulse raced. Watching us for what? Who is she? Khalid looked terrified, eyes darting between his mother and Amina. This can't be happening, he muttered, voice strained. You need to trust me. But Amina felt the walls closing in. You've been lying to me? No, Khalid shouted, desperation breaking through. I had no idea. Enough. The shadowy man interjected. It's too late for secrets. The truth binds you both in ways you can't escape. Amina's breath quickened as she looked back at Khalid's mother. What does he mean? Do you truly think blood can be ignored, Amina? She asked, voice like ice. You have to choose sides. Amina staggered back, panic thumping in her chest. Choose sides? What does that mean? Khalid's mother turned to face her son, sadness etched on her features. It's not just about us. There are others, many others. Powers that want to control this. What powers? Amina's heart raced, but she felt ice pooling in her veins. Your mother, Khalid's mother murmured, eyes sad. She had a dark past, one connected to everything we're facing now. Amina's mind reeled. What are you talking about? Before she could absorb it all, the ground shook again, sending guests stumbling. Khalid grabbed her, eyes blazing. We can't stay. We need to go, now! As they turned to escape, the shadowy man stepped in their path again. Do you think running will help? No, the truth is out, and it's coming for you. Amina felt cold terror seep into her bones. What truth? Then from the chaos, a scream pierced the air, sharp and hawkish. Look out! Someone shouted as the crowd pushed back, panic rising like a tide. In that moment, Khalid pulled Amina close, breathing heavily. We have to find a way out, now, he urged, urgency coursing through him. But Amina couldn't shake the feeling of dread. What if it's too late? Suddenly, without warning, a door burst open at the far end of the hall. Shadows rushed in, figures cloaked in darkness, eyes glinting with malice. The air turned electric. The entire room went silent, breathless. Khalid's grip tightened. Amina, run! But she couldn't move. Terror blanketed everything. And just like that, the chaos crashed back in. Figures approached, their intentions hidden. Shadows loomed, and there was nowhere to hide. With a pounding heart, Amina faced the truth. What was about to unfold would change everything. Forever, Amina felt her heart hammering against her ribs. The tension in the room was thick like fog. Khalid's grip on her tightened, drawing her closer as shadows moved ominously toward them. Fear was a pulse in her throat. Then the figures emerged from the shadows. Their faces were concealed. Cloaked in darkness, they moved as one, chilling her to the bone. Someone pushed through the crowd and crashed into Amina, knocking the locket from her hands. The box hit the floor, thudding loudly. The latch popped open, revealing its contents to the watchful eyes around them. Gasps echoed. Everyone leaned in. Amina felt her face flush. She scrambled to pick it up, but the shadowy man laughed, mocking her. "Look at you, Amina, so desperate to cling to the past." Khalid's mother gasped, eyes darting to the old locket. "No, it can't be." "What? What is it?" Amina shouted, scrambling for answers. Panic gripped her like a vice. The shadowy figure stepped forward. "You think this is just a game? It's time you understood the stakes." He pointed at the portraits inside the locket. "Your mother didn't just run away. She fled from something terrible." Tension crackled in the air. Amina's stomach dropped. What terrible thing? But before the man could respond, another figure burst into the room. Amina blinked in. Disbelief. It was her mother, standing there, looking older, wearier, but unmistakably her. Amina's heart raced. "Mom, what are you doing here?" Khalid's mother grimaced. "No, he should never have come." "Get away from her!" Amina shouted, confusion boiling over. "What do you mean?" Her mother stepped forward, eyes terrified. "There's something you must know. Something I've kept from you." The shadowy man sneered. "Ah, the truth revealed at last. Speak then." "Enough!" Khalid shouted, anger flashing. "This isn't helping. We need to go." But Amina couldn't look away from her mother. "What are you hiding? What's going on?" Her mother's expression flickered, pain etched into her features. "Amina, I'm sorry. This wasn't supposed to happen. I thought keeping you safe meant keeping secrets." "Secrets will destroy us," Khalid's mother interjected. "It's her! You must tell her now!" Khalid's face paled further. "What do you know?" He looked back at Amina, pleading. "Trust me, we have to." But Amina was on the edge. "Stop! Just tell me!" Suddenly, the shadowy man laughed. A sinister sound. "You want the truth, my dear? Yes, she does have a twin. But not just any twin. You're intertwined with Khalid in ways beyond your imagination." "What does that mean?" Amina's breath hitched. "We can't be half-sisters, Amina, both daughters. Born of tragedy and deceit. Your families are entangled in a web of lies." Amina froze, her mind reeling. Khalid looked stricken, and the weight of the revelation hit him hard. "No, that can't be true." "Isn't it?" the shadowy man taunted. "The truth is right before you. You're linked by blood, and your lives have been choices made by others for too long." Amina stumbled back, overwhelmed. "You're lying." "No, dear girl, this is just the beginning." The lights flickered, and Amina glanced around. Panic erupted in the crowd. Someone screamed. A loud crash echoed as the door swung open violently again, letting in a gust of wind. Shadows swirled in, overwhelming the space. A figure emerged, the familiar face of Amina's estranged father. "What are you doing here?" Amina gasped, the shock numbing her. "Amina, I've come to save you," he shouted, breathlessly. "But it may already be too late." "Save me?" Tears welled in her eyes. "From what? You're part of this mess." Khalid stepped back, face pale. "This isn't happening." Then chaos erupted. Figures moved quickly, swooping in as the air thickened with fear and uncertainty. Amina felt trapped. No way out, no answers. And just like that, She stood at the edge of a precipice, the truth closing in fast. What family did she have? Whom could she trust? Then everything went dark again. Amina felt her breath catch in her throat. Her mother stood there, eyes wide, as if she had opened the door to a nightmare. Khalid's mother looked stricken, fear freezing her in place. The shadowy man stepped closer, his presence looming over them like a thundercloud. "What will you do now?" he taunted. "You're surrounded by your past." Khalid's face paled. "Mom, what do you mean?" Amina turned, desperation overtaking her. "You need to explain. What are you hiding?" "I didn't want you to find out like this," her mother said, voice breaking as tears streamed down her cheeks. "I thought I could protect you." "Protect me from what?" Amina's heart raced. "What's going on?" But before her mother could reply, the man interrupted. "Everything you believe is not what it seems. Your mother fled because she was terrified of what would happen if you ever learned the truth." Amina felt a sinking sensation in her stomach. What truth? A loud crash erupted at the entrance, startling everyone. A hooded figure rushed in, eyes glinting in the dim light. It moved like a shadow, swift and silent. "No, not now!" Khalid shouted, pushing Amina behind him. "Stay back!" Amina yelled, pushing herself forward. The figure soon stepped into the flickering light. A familiar face. "Dad?" Amina gasped. "You shouldn't have come here," he grunted, eyes darting around the room. "What do you mean, shouldn't have come here?" she snapped. "You're in this too." "Listen to me." He stepped closer, desperation clear on his face. "Everyone's in danger. We need to leave now." But Amina couldn't move. Her heart raced. "Why are you here?" The shadowy man laughed, clutching the locket. "She doesn't even know what he's done." "What? What are you talking about?" Amina's voice trembled. She felt dizzy. Khalid glanced at Amina, fear in his eyes. "You can't trust him. None of them." But Amina's eyes were fixed on her father. "What's going on?" "He didn't just run away," the shadowy man sneered. "He betrayed us all." Amina's world tilted. "Betrayed? No, you love me." Her father's face twisted, anger and guilt intertwined. "I didn't want you involved in this." Tension crackled in the air. "What did you do?" Amina whispered, feeling weak in her knees. Before he could respond, the crowd began to murmur. Gasps erupted as they realized the weight of the moment. "This is insane," someone shouted. "Enough," Khalid's mother said, eyes blazing. "Secrets don't last forever. You're more tied to each other than you know." "Stop," Khalid shot back, panic spilling out. "Don't listen to him." But the man laughed, dark and grim. "It's already happening. You just don't see how deep the ties run." "What ties?" Amina screamed, desperation clawing at her voice. "Tell her," the man snapped at her father. "Tell her what you did." Amina felt her heart hammer. "Tell me, what did you do?" Her father's expression fractured, and suddenly he spat out words that cut deeper than any blade. "I betrayed your mother to protect my name." The crowd gasped collectively. Amina felt the air leave her lungs. "What?" He was scared. "He didn't want the world to know he had a daughter with your mother," the shadowy man said, a cruel smirk dancing on his lips. "And it gets worse." Khalid stepped back, eyes wide. "No. Yes." The man pressed forward, voice dripping with delight. "You think he came to save you? He's the reason all of this is happening." Amina's heart raced. Is that true? No one could speak. The air felt heavy, thick with accusation. Then it all shifted again. The floor shook violently, a thunderous crash echoing through the room. They stumbled as the lights flickered and dimmed. In that moment, a shocking realization gripped Amina. "You're part of this too," she cried, locking eyes with Khalid. He trembled, the truth hitting them both like a freight train. The shadowy figure laughed louder. "Welcome to the family game!" Then, as the last flicker of light vanished, darkness swallowed them whole. Amina stood in the aching silence, her thoughts swirling like a tempest. The darkness enveloped them, pressing down, heavy with unspoken truths. But then it snapped. A blinding light burst through, illuminating their faces, shadows retreating. Khalid's hand tightened around hers. "Stay close," he whispered urgently, still reeling from the revelations that ripped through their lives. The complex web of family. Secrets hung in the air, mingling with the palpable tension. They turned to face Amina's mother, her eyes filled with a heartbreak that matched the shattered pieces around them. "I never wanted you to know. I thought—" Her voice trailed off, the weight of her choices hanging heavily in the air. "I thought you were protecting me." Amina's voice trembled, reflecting not just anger, but a desperate longing for clarity. "All those years," the shadowy man smirked, reveling in the chaos he had orchestrated. "Look at this. Family reunions never go as planned." He gestured at the gathered crowd, whispers cascading around them like waves, each person frozen in a mixture of shock and intrigue. Khalid stepped forward, his eyes blazing. "You don't have power over us anymore. We'll break free from this." "No," Amina's voice pierced through the noise, drowning out the taunting laughter. "It's about time we confront this." She locked eyes with her father, who had shifted into a protective stance. "What you did is in the past. We can't change it, but we can redefine our future." The tension in the room thickened. Khalid's mother nodded, stepping closer, her expression settling into a quiet resolve. "Honesty is all we have left. If we face it together, we might just survive." Suddenly, the shadowy man's face hardened, anger cracking his feigned composure. "You think you can just walk away? The past clings tighter than blood." With a decisive step, Amina raised the locket, holding it like a shield. "No more secrets. If the past is our foundation, let's build something stronger from it." A whisper rippled through the crowd, the shift palpable. Eyes flickered with hope and doubt. "Together," Khalid urged, squeezing her hand tighter, anchoring her. "Yes, together," Amina echoed, taking a deep breath. "We're more than the sum of our parents' mistakes." With that declaration, the darkness seemed to recede. A familial bond, forged from a tumulto de pene, gigantemente, destudos al paseno, unido frente ante las sombras de su pasado. Amé la luz del ambiente, se volvió con Khalid. Su corazón ne unía en camino nuevo. "We'll figure this out. We'll lift the veil." Ya caló de animal, sus ojos oscuros como extremos muertas, pero su voz craquea. "No saben lo que has deslindado." "The what will come," Khalid dijo, voltemente parándose firme. "Pero no controláis tu fin." With a flick of his wrist, the shadowy man slipped back into the darkness, casting one last, ominous gaze. The tension lingered, like the aftermath of a thunderstorm, electricity in the air. And then, just as quickly as it began, the tension faded, replaced by an invigorating sense of possibility. The crowd broke into murmurs, uncertainty still in their eyes, but the fear had shifted. Amina took a slow step forward, swallowing hard as she felt the weight of her mother's gaze on her. "I may not understand everything now, but we will find our way. No more walking in shadows." Khalid nodded in agreement, determination igniting their path. Together, they would navigate the winding roads ahead. As they prepared to leave the chaos behind, one question lingered in the air, a soft whisper that threatened to unravel all they had just forged. But what if the truth comes looking for us? In that moment, they stepped into an uncertain dawn, united in the face of whatever lay ahead. You must subscribe right now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait another second to share these stories that spark our imaginations. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and flood the comments with your reactions and theories about the ending. Share right away with 5 friends who need to see this finale. Only true fans understand how vital these actions are. Let's keep this community alive.